Is the EU pulling its weight for Ukraine? Let's look at the numbers. The United States has committed 68 billion euros. Other non-EU countries have committed 40.6 billion euros. And the European Union, with its member states, have pledged an impressive 144 billion euros. It's important to note that 55 billion euros of additional US support is currently stuck in Congress. But even if you add this to the current US tally, the EU still far outstrips US support. However, there's a notable variance in contributions among countries. Let's have a look at the top 10 spenders in the EU. These contributions include military, humanitarian, and financial support. Also, bear in mind that this list only includes bilateral support. We will look at EU support a little later. As you can see, Germany is in the lead, followed by Denmark and then the Netherlands. This is quite remarkable, especially for Denmark, which ranks second in support despite its modest population and being only the 11th largest economy in the EU. The other big EU economic powers, France, Italy, and Spain, are positioned in 8th, 10th, and 13th, respectively. France, with the second largest economy in the EU and a notable military presence, has faced scrutiny over its contributions. However, France has defended its support for Ukraine, saying that the figures from the Kiel Institute are wrong and that its military aid to Ukraine amounts to approximately 3.8 billion euros. In addition to monetary aid, France emphasizes its role in training 10,000 Ukrainian soldiers in both Poland and France. So let's take the French by their word and increase their contribution to 3.8 billion euros. Their support would still rank them only in 5th, trailing behind Poland. This isn't that much, given France's economy is about 4 times as large as Poland's. Now, to complete the European picture, let's add the EU, who has contributed 85 billion euros to Ukraine, surpassing Germany in the first spot. But as this money comes from the EU member states, what happens if we add this to the contributed bilateral aid? As you've probably noticed, I'm all about diving deep into the gritty details of the war in Ukraine and how the EU pitches in. It's the kind of stuff that fuels my videos. But you know what's a total buzzkill? Smashing into that invisible wall of geo-restrictions. Take for example this must-watch documentary on iPlayer. Without a plane ticket to the UK, I'm out of luck, right? Wrong. Enter Surfshark, today's incredible sponsor, to save the day. Just a couple of clicks and voila. I'm streaming this video and countless of other fantastic ones, all from the comfort of my home. And here's the kicker, Surfshark won't cost you anywhere near a plane ticket. It's just €2.19 per month. And Surfshark isn't just about streaming content from abroad. It's your digital armor, encrypting your data and safeguarding your identity online, ensuring that you're secure, even on public Wi-Fi. So don't wait any longer. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Go to surfshark.deals/EUMadeSimple and enter my coupon code EUMadeSimple for an extra 3 months for free. Plus, you're also covered with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so it really is a no-brainer. According to the Kiel Institute, if we distribute the 85 billion euros of EU contributions by EU member state, the rankings would change quite significantly. Germany would remain in first place, but France would rise from 5th to 2nd, followed by the Netherlands, Italy, and Spain. So does that settle the deal? Germany is doing the most for Ukraine? No, not exactly. Germany is the biggest country in Europe with the highest GDP, and if we look at the Ukraine contributions in terms of percentage of GDP, things look very different. Germany would drop down to 9th, with Estonia taking first place, followed by Denmark, Lithuania, and Latvia. The other big EU economies would drop even further, with Spain in 15th, France in 18th, and Italy in 21st out of the 27 EU member states. The lowest spending in EU member states are Luxembourg, Malta, and Ireland. It is also very revealing when we plot the contributions to Ukraine as percentages of GDP on a map, where you can very clearly see that the countries closer to Russia are spending more than the countries further away. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Estonia isn't just leading the pack, they're also pushing for even greater support. They suggest that 120 billion euros annually in military aid to Ukraine could be the magic number needed for victory. Plus, they're floating the idea of using Eurobonds to cover some of this massive sum. Here the EU would borrow money from the financial markets, backed by the collective promise of all 27 EU member states. However, Germany does not like it. So is Estonia doing most for Ukraine when we take population and GDP into account? Well, hold up. We're overlooking something big: refugee support. Data from Statista highlights that Germany, Poland, Czechia, Spain, and Italy are the top hosts for Ukrainian support. And that's no small feat. For example, Germany and Poland alone have spent more than 20 billion euros to provide for their new arrivals. So what would this look like on our total tally? As a reminder, the total contribution includes military, humanitarian, and financial aid, plus contributions through the EU. Now let's include refugee support. And once again, Germany leads with a grand total contribution of 62.4 billion euros. However, let's take another look at the percentage of GDP and re-rank our list from 1st to 10th. And indeed, there are some significant climbers. Estonia retains its first place, spending an impressive 5% of its GDP on support for Ukraine. Poland, though, has risen to 2nd, followed by Latvia in 3rd. Czechia and Bulgaria have also made notable jumps to claim the 6th and 7th spots respectively. Credit must also be given to Germany, though. 62 billion euros in support, while ranking only 10th in terms of GDP percentage. That's an indicator of a pretty strong economy. For context, Spain, France, and Italy rank 17th, 21st, and 25th respectively. Now that we've talked about military, humanitarian, financial, and refugee support, what about politics and influence? This is where the big countries do play a very important role: Germany and France. And this is where German support is not all that it seems. For months, Ukraine has sought the Taurus missile system from Germany, but Chancellor Scholz has declined, citing the need for German troops to program the missiles on Ukrainian soil, a step he believes could escalate the conflict. His stance caused controversy, especially after mistakenly suggesting that French and British forces were operating missiles under Ukrainian control. Allies were obviously not happy. Complicating matters further, a leaked recording of German Air Force officers contradicted Scholz's claims, showing that deploying the Taurus missiles wouldn't require German personnel in Ukraine. Critics argue that the Chancellor's hesitance, strategic uncertainty, and wrongful claims undermine Ukraine's chance of victory and Europe's security. And this wouldn't be the first time. Do you remember Germany's initial offer of only sending helmets? Or the months of discussion whether to send Leopard 2 tanks? This did not help the war effort, giving Russia ample time to prepare and resist the Ukrainian summer offensive last year.
Beaucoup de gens qui disent jamais jamais aujourd'hui étaient les mêmes qui disaient jamais jamais des tanks, jamais jamais des avions, jamais jamais des missiles de longue portée, jamais jamais ceci il y a 2 ans. Je vous rappelle qu'il y a 2 ans, beaucoup autour de cette table disaient nous allons proposer des sacs de couchage et des casques.
And this brings us to the second problem. Macron and Scholz don't really get along, do they? Macron openly bashes Germany, and Scholz openly refutes what Macron says in public.
Il n'y a pas de consensus aujourd'hui pour envoyer de manière officielle, assumée et endossée des troupes au sol, mais en dynamique, rien ne doit être exclu. Nous ferons tout ce qu'il faut pour que la Russie ne puisse pas gagner cette guerre.
Yes, it's not smart to say something like this in public without verifying it with your allies, and Scholz quickly retaliated.
Es klipp und klar zu sagen, als deutscher Bundeskanzler werde ich keine Soldaten unserer Bundeswehr in die Ukraine entsenden. Das gilt, darauf können sich unsere Soldatinnen und Soldaten verlassen.
To be honest, what are these leaders doing? We really look so fragmented. And why is Scholz playing into Putin's hands by very openly communicating German fears and by repeatedly underscoring what Germany is not willing to do? But hey, at least the leaders are still talking. In a recent meeting in Berlin, Scholz, Macron, and Tusk tried to show unity and resolve their differences. Let's hope that it is a start to a more European front. So, to answer the video question, which EU country is doing the most for Ukraine? At EU Made Simple, we wouldn't put Germany anywhere near the top 3. Yes, they spend the most, but they have the biggest population and economy by far. Their political infighting, slow decision-making, and lack of leadership is really hurting the cause. And as the famous saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. and we are seeing little responsibility and leadership so far. So what about France? No, we wouldn't put them into the top 3 either. Macron might be trying to take the lead, but he needs to do better at taking his allies with him. Not to mention, France really could do better with military and financial support. So the real heroes for us at EU Made Simple are Estonia, Poland, Latvia, and Denmark, as they've contributed the most as percentage of GDP so far. Also, we will move Czechia from 5th up to 2nd for its remarkable initiative to activate its Cold War era networks to provide Ukraine with 1.5 million artillery shells. 15 countries have already pledged to help fund the Czech initiative. So there you have our top 3, but do you agree with us? Let us know in the comments. And remember to check out our sponsor, Surfshark, my favorite VPN service out there. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more content. And if you want to support the channel further, please consider Patreon. And see you in the next video.